Almost everything we build in the modern world has to answer one question first. Not how innovative it is, not how profitable it could be, but whether it can be insured. Every bridge, every airplane, every factory. Without insurance, they do not exist. This is the story of how insurance quietly controls the global economy. We often think progress is driven by ideas and money, but in reality, most large projects depend on something else. Risk. Risk does not disappear. It is calculated. It is priced. And then it is either accepted or rejected. A skyscraper without insurance is not an investment. It is a liability. Without insurance, banks do not lend. Governments do not approve. Construction does not begin. Many large projects never fail publicly. They disappear quietly, before the first brick is laid, before construction begins, not because the idea was bad, not because funding was missing, but because insurance was never secured. Without insurance, banks step back. Investors hesitate. Permits are delayed. And eventually, the project simply stops existing. Most people never notice. But this happens every day. Insurance is not a side industry. It is one of the most powerful decision-making systems on Earth. Behind the scenes, insurers and reinsurers decide which risks are acceptable and which ones are not. Organizations like Lloyd's of London do not build cities, or ships, or power plants, but their decisions determine whether those things can exist at all. More than 90% of global trade depends on insured assets. When insurance is available, economies move. When it disappears, everything stops. No insurance company carries risk alone. Behind every insurer stands another layer: reinsurance. This is how global risk is shared. One company insures a project, another insures the insurer, and another spreads that risk across countries and continents. This network allows disasters to be absorbed without collapsing the system. But it also concentrates power in very few decision centers. When reinsurers change their models, entire markets feel it. This system works through 3 steps. First, risk modeling, natural disasters, wars, cyber attacks, climate change. Everything is reduced to probability. Second, pricing uncertainty. If risk increases, premiums rise, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. And finally, the silent veto. Insurance rarely says no. Instead, it becomes unaffordable. And when that happens, projects quietly disappear. Consider a coastal city. At first, insurance is affordable, then flood risk increases. Premiums rise, developers pay more, banks reevaluate loans. Some projects are delayed. Eventually, insurance becomes too expensive. Construction slows, investment leaves, not because the city failed, but because risk crossed a mathematical threshold. This is already happening. Entire coastal regions are becoming uninsurable. Wildfire zones, floodplains, conflict areas. When insurers leave, investment follows. Homes lose value. Businesses shut down. People move away, not because a law was passed, but because risk was no longer accepted. Insurance markets do not react emotionally. They react mathematically. When insurance disappears, communities feel it immediately. Homes become harder to sell. Small businesses lose protection. Local economies weaken. People are forced to move not by choice, but by risk. This is how financial systems reshape geography. Quietly, gradually, permanently. This system does not only affect governments or corporations, it affects everyday life. The price of housing, the cost of food, the stability of cities. Insurance decisions shape where people can live and where they cannot, long before laws change, long before politics reacts. The future will make this system even more powerful. Climate instability, cyber warfare, automation, all of them create new types of risk that did not exist before. The future economy will not be decided by innovation alone. It will be decided by what can still be insured and what cannot. Insurance does not build the world, but it decides which version of the world is allowed to exist. The most powerful systems are often invisible, and this one quietly shapes everything. This was Invisible Systems, the structures behind the modern world.